Welcome to the Nonprofit Solution Spotlight Series, a video series talking to nonprofit leaders across organizations of all shapes and sizes in order to understand how they're leveraging technology for mission impact. I'm Lauren Stovall, Manager of Nonprofit Programs at AWS, and I'm here with Karen Tabor from Conservation International. Thank you for being here, Karen.
Thank you, Lauren. It's great to be here.
So tell us a little bit more about your role, Conservation International, and some of the challenges you guys are trying to solve.
So I am the Senior Director of Ecological Monitoring in the Betty and Gordon Moore Center for Science at Conservation International. We're a global nonprofit, mostly focused on conservation in the tropics. We have offices in 30 countries around the world, and our main mission is saving nature for people. So where are those places that we need to conserve to ensure global well-being?
Okay, so that sounds like a pretty big mission. Tell us where you've seen opportunities to apply technology to have an impact on that mission.
Yeah, so I've been working at Conservation International for 18 years now, and we're kind of an early adopter in technologies, especially remote sensing. So my background's remote sensing and GIS, and we were one of the first conservation nonprofits to actually have a remote sensing team back in like the 90s. And remote sensing is using satellite data to monitor global changes, and that was a core part of our work. One example is I operate a system called Firecast, and it specifically does this. It takes this, satellite information on fire detections. It packages information, delivers it to a decision maker directly in the country. And one of the countries we work in is Indonesia. So back in, I think it was about 2007, there was a protected area manager in the Kerinci Seblat National Park. And it was during the wet season when he received an email alert from our system saying that there was a fire like deep inside this park. I mean, the park is enormous and really hard to monitor. And he kind of questioned like, well, what is this? Why is there a fire in the middle of the park in the wet season? So he alerted the person above him and got approval to go investigate. So they sent about 12 people deep inside the park to see what was going on. They actually found that there was about 85 people who were illegal loggers had cleared part of the park as a temporary settlement. So they used fire to clear the part of the park. And then they were going into the park and taking out, extracting logging. So they arrested all of those people and fined them and brought them out of the park. So that was one of the examples where this protected area manager, just one person monitoring this huge park, was able to use our technology to detect flag an alert or a threat and then strategically go and investigate. And that actually prevented further deforestation.
And that's a great example of meaningful impact, of course. And kind of zooming out a little bit, where do you see technology impacting the conservation space as a whole, whether now or in the future?
Yeah, so technology definitely already has. I've seen in my career that with remote sensing technologies really has changed how we make conservation decisions and the fact that we can monitor and see what's already happened. But I'm very interested in technology, looking forward, seeing what's next. Can we forecast? So not just looking at what already happened, but what is going to happen. Of course, we already do this with climate models, but that's modeling climate is about physical models of temperatures and precipitation, and that's all physical. What makes it harder to really forecast deforestation is that the human aspect of the social aspects that change, social, economic, political. That's not as easy to predict, and a lot of them are driven by global economics, politics, market forces. So how can we kind of pull all that information together to make more accurate forecasts?
And, of course, data is a key part of that. And I know sometimes it can be challenging to bring the data to a place where it's usable and helping you take those proactive steps. And so as you think about using data and technology and proactively impacting a cause area, what advice do you have for other nonprofits that may be pursuing the use of data and technology for mission outcomes?
Yes, so it's a great question, and I'm actually, really kind of focused on getting that data used. And so there's the, we have all this data that's out there and available. We have tons of data sets. We have tons of satellite monitor data sets. There's hundreds of satellites that are specifically just monitoring, the environment. And that's great. And we have all these data platforms, but how do you get that information used by that decision maker? So I would say that we really need to focus on looking first at who the person is making the decision, what you want that outcome to be, and design backwards like most technology companies already do, knowing your user and knowing your customer, and then leveraging the technology that meets the needs and to design something specifically for that customer. And so that's one of the things that I'm interested in, is connecting the data and information to be used by that user.
Well, that's great. Karen, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
We really appreciate it. So now we're going to throw it over to our solution architecture team, who's going to go into a bit more detail about the technical solution.
Thanks, Lauren. My name's Dominic. I'm a solutions architect with our worldwide public sector. There are a number of different options to move what you have existing on-premise to AWS. We worked with the Conservation International team to build an architecture and a methodology and a process that made sense for them, that ensured that they had sufficient capacity to support their existing missions as well as to support their missions going forward. In order to get the satellite imagery Conservation International needs to monitor ecosystems around the world, they utilize data from NASA satellites. They use an EC2 instance to query information from NASA in order to push the data into the Amazon Relational Database Service. Now they're running a Postgres engine in order to ingest that data and analyze it. Just storing the data doesn't really lead to any insights. People have to look at the data, they have to be able to interact with that. So Conservation International built out a front end using an EC2 application layer that allows them to query the database and ask questions of their data. By being able to ask questions of their data, they're able to present the decision makers with enough information to say, hey, we need to go investigate this environment because we're noticing these changes. And being able to ingest this data in a timely manner means that they can make these decisions faster.